Hey, listeners, just before we get into today's podcast, I just wanted to give a shout out to today's sponsor, the Pretentious Pickle Company. The Pretentious Pickle Company is located at 190 Water Street right here in Plymouth, Massachusetts. If you are a pickled fan, you can find everything under the sun here that has been pickled, whether it be obviously pickled cucumbers, but they do cauliflower, green beans, carrots, onions, okra, Brussels sprouts, eggs, anything that you can pickle, they do pickle. It's all delicious. They have tons of things to choose from. It's made right there in their own kitchen, all locally made, all locally sourced. And they're just such a great place to go. So if you live here in Plymouth, by all means, swing down to 190 Water Street and check them out. They are open Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 10 to 4, and Sundays, 11 to 4. But if you're not local to Plymouth, you can still enjoy Pretentious Pickle Company by heading over to www.pretentiouspickle.com, and you can order right there and they'll ship it to you. So you can get pickles locally sourced somewhere else and shipped right to you, and they're all delicious. So definitely check them out. Thank you to the Pretentious Pickle people. Welcome back, Inebri-arts. This is Andy of the Inebri-art podcast, and today we're joined by an actor, Michael Saquella. Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me on the show. It's a pleasure.
Oh, no problem. So it's funny because I was thinking earlier today how I normally ask, like, oh, how did you get started? That kind of thing, what age? But I feel like the more interesting thing is like, what's your day to day like now? How is COVID affecting you? It seems to be flaring up all over the place here. I mean, are you filming? Is it making it more difficult? Like, what's your experience?
Well, COVID slowed us down for a little bit. We were in pre-production for a film called Carolina's Calling. COVID hit, end of March, everybody shut down, but we opened up in Arizona in June. So the middle of June, we started filming in our mountains, and we finished in July. We've been editing up the picture. It's almost complete. And I developed 2 TV shows. It looks like they're going to be going for like online stuff, digital networks around the world, and opening up a dinner theater for a live Vegas show. So I've been very busy.
It sounds like you made the best of quarantine.
Sure.
So you said you got a couple of shows in development for online TV style shows for online venues. Has that changed business for you? Are you more involved with kind of the Hulu, Shudder, or whatever the specific platform may be? Is that where you feel the industry is headed?
I think so. I mean, I got 5 movies right now in 60 countries all over on everything from Amazon Prime to Vudu, Hulu, you name it, we're on it. And the series seems to be popping up, a prequel from my El Coyote movie and a horror thing. And I believe instead of developing them into a major theatrical picture or an independent film, probably easier and quicker for me to get 10, 11, 12 episodes done and sell them to a smaller network.
Well, it seems even like some of the big blockbusters are headed that way. I heard like HBO Max is getting a lot of kind of first run movies. I mean, it just seems kind of like the movie theaters could be a dying species.
Yeah, so you're right. HBO Max has got a lot of good ones opening. I can't wait to see the new Batman and all that next year, and the new cut of the Justice League. But I noticed that when 1984, the Wonder Woman movie comes out, it's going to be streaming at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
So you're right.
I don't know about the Zack Schneider thing. I just feel like I've been overloaded with that. I'm a big nerd, so it seems like every time I get on a Facebook, it's either COVID or Zack Snyder, and I can't tell which I'm more tired of hearing about.
agree.
So tell us about the movie that you just put out. Is it a horror film? Is that correct?
So my last two pictures I put out October 4th, 2019. I put a theatrical movie out called El Coyote, the Italian Mafia against the Mexican cartel. And I play a mobster in that. I play the lead. We brought in Bobby Costanzo from a Bruce movie, Bruce Willis' second Die Hard movie, and he was in Goonies. And we had John Capodici. He was the Pet Detective. He was the cop that stepped on the bug and said, "Homicide, Ventura." We had some great Italian actors. We had Tom Sizemore in it, but we had to pull him out because of his reputation. That movie came out, did really well up against The Joker, and now it's digital. It came out February 25th, and it's in 60 countries, and it's doing really well. The next film I put out was called Dream Round. It was a golf picture, a tearjerker, a real clean family film, but a guy that's been in the trailer park for 15 years after he lost his family in a car crash. Could have been a pro golfer when he was younger, and a ghost, a 10-year-old kid, and a waitress is going to get him off the couch, back on the golf course to try to win the Arizona Open. And the reviews are incredible. It opened November 10th, and everybody's really liking it, talking great stuff about me. One lady wrote that first she had goosebumps, then she had a tear to full-blown crying.
So, as an actor,
the cast was amazing.
Oh, sorry. So, sorry, as an actor, do you kind of like to jump from that type of one type of role to another, or do you kind of more like to stick in one genre?
No, I want to jump from genre to genre. I want to go everywhere, but for a while there, I was stuck doing the mobster stuff. And they forget about it with Burt Reynolds and Rockwell Welch, where I played a mobster in a witness protection program, buried a bunch of money, and I got to whack the old guys to get my money back. It was a comedy. The El Coyote, I'm a mobster. I did a little thing for a YouTube film. I played Uncle Vinny. I was a mobster, I'm tired of that. So this Dream Run was a breath of fresh air for me, playing a golfer, a retired golfer, an old man. Been sitting on his butt for 15 years.
So in preparing for that role, was it harder to prepare for that role because it was something out of the norm for you, or did it come more naturally? What were the challenges?
The golfing, the athleticism was easy because I play a lot of golf. That part was great. Richard Grieco, the co-star in it, he and I go way back. We've known each other for many, many years. So it was easy working with him with the golf. But as far as the caring, loving father, the father lost his family, the bum on the couch at the trailer park, I had to get into it. I really had to. It's completely different for me. I had to calm way down. I couldn't be over the top. I couldn't be that New York, how you doing? Want some coffee over here? Forget about it. I couldn't do that. I had to be normal, and I had to have major emotions because I just lost my family. Right. So it was a little tougher, but I pulled it off. And I knew on the set that it was special because the crew and everybody there would start clapping after a couple of these scenes I did. When I had to cry and stuff, mm-hmm. I made the crew cry when I cried, and I had them cheering after a couple of my scenes. So I knew that, wow, I hit it. But it was hard, but I did it.
So how did you get yourself in that kind of state? Was it kind of from your own personal memories? Was it kind of more putting yourself in his situation? How did you muster up the ability to cry kind of on cue? I don't know if I could manage that.
So I got into the character and didn't shave. He's a bum on the couch. And when that came time to get the emotions, I had to pull something. I haven't had any, tragedies recently. I lost my father a while back, but so I have two daughters, mm-hmm. and they're one of them's daddy's little girl. So I just pictured her getting really sick or something happening to her really bad. And as soon as I started that, I immediately started pouring tears on my face. And I was like, you think of your own family, method acting like De Niro or something. I just pulled it out of me.
Yeah.
You got to go. I had to go there. I went there and I did it. And when it was over with, I couldn't stop. And my body was shaking for a while. And they kept the camera rolling. And finally I calmed down and said, I don't want to go there again. Thank God it was one take with 2 or 3 cameras. But, you got to go inside deep somewhere and you got to find it. A lot of people fake it. When you watch TV or movies, and they cry, they cover their face. They put their hand over their face. Mm-hmm. They're not really crying. They're trying it, but they don't they're too busy on the set. They're smoking, they're eating, they're having fun, they're laughing with all the other cast members. But when it comes time to really doing a performance, you got to get in there and pull it out. And that's what I did.
And does that carry, over after they say cut? Like, does that ruin your whole day, or do you kind of have to like go sit somewhere quiet and kind of like reset your mind?
Oh, I definitely had to go to the bedroom in this trailer we were filming. I had to go relax in there for a little while. And my, I think, makeup artist and the leading actress came in there with me, and they rubbed my back for a while. Kept saying, "It's okay, it's okay, it's okay." They kept trying to calm me down. Because, you go that far, you let go. If you really know how to let loose, then you can't just turn it off.
Right.
On most scenes, the golf scene, no problem. The yelling and screaming, no problem. But with that emotional, it took me a while. I remember we had to go calm down for like 20 minutes. And then I was ready for the next shot.
Now, you mentioned yelling and screaming. So, like, if you're angry, you don't have that same carryover. Like, you don't walk around with a chip on your shoulder for the rest of the day. You can let that go easier.
Yeah. I can get so angry so fast, so easy. Got a lot of experience being Italian and yelling. So I can yell and scream, and 2 minutes later, I'm laughing and, smiling again. But not the crying stuff.
So how did you get started in the business? I mean, were you kind of automatically typecast as, that Italian mobster, or, did you get started in another way?
Well, I started when I was really young. And I played baseball in upstate New York. I went to Fairport High School outside of Rochester. And I was a really good ball player. And I was going to go to college and play ball and make it in the major leagues. That was my dream. And I used to ride a unicycle really well. And I was riding my unicycle home from baseball practice. And the drama coach and a couple of the actresses that were in the high school play were like, "Oh, we need go. Come here." So I went over there, and they're like, "We need you in our play." I go, "I don't do plays. Plays are for pussies.
Yeah.
I'm not a freaking actor. I'm a baseball player. What? Come on, man." And so, anyways, this girl Ann got me to go inside, and when I went in there and I saw, half a dozen women in their leotards, all stretching back then, I'm like, you know what? Where do I sign up?
Yeah, I can get used to this.
About the women, I didn't. Yeah, I can do this. This is good. I figured I could just look at women all day. When you're a kid and your hormones are out of whack, it's like, yeah, baby. So I went in there and they give me a book, a playbook, or show, whatever they call it back then. And they go, "You're going to read this part." I'm like, "What? I don't even have my glasses. I couldn't even read." I wore glasses. I still wear glasses. So I'm like trying to read this thing. And so I read it really bad. And I'm like, this is nuts. I don't want to do this. And 3 days later, I got the girls pulling me over to the showroom, to the front door of the theater. And then they posted all the parts. I got the freaking lead role, and I can't even act. I can't sing. And it was a pajama game. So that's what happened to me. I got the lead role, and I was like nervous after 3 or 4 months of us, what we were rehearsing and singing, and like this sucked. But when the curtain opened up, I'm like, oh my God, I love this. The roar of the crowd and the smell of the grease paint, I was hooked. But how I really got started was I worked at a dinner theater in upstate New York, and I was a busboy. Mm-hmm. And I got called backstage. Shirley MacLaine was there, and the manager of the theater said, "Shirley needs some hot tea." So she said to me, I called her Miss MacLaine, and she said, "Look, I need my iced tea. I need 10 lemon wedges cut by this dimension, by that dimension. Has to be this hot, blah, 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 blah." So I went and I came back, and she said it was perfect. She goes, "No one ever made it as perfect as you. You deserve a promotion." So the general manager made me backstage manager. So when I became backstage manager, I got to see all the acts, and I was asking them all, "How do I get started? How do I get started?" Mm-hmm. And so that's what it was. And one day I talked to some comedians, and I started as a stand-up comic. I started doing jokes, and I was funny, and it started. I went to Arizona State University to play baseball, and I met a lady that I fell in love with, and she was doing wardrobe at a Wild West town. So I went out there, and I ended up joining the team, became a stuntman. Then I interviewed for a movie called Frank Cole's in town. They shot in black and white with Troy and Jim Neighbors, the two brothers. I got the role. As soon as the camera rolled, I knew that's what I wanted to do, and I moved to Los Angeles. And I got an agent, and I started.
So you've done stunts. You were the back of house manager. You're working on TV shows. Is there any part of the whole Hollywood production life that you haven't done that you want to do, or are you kind of like, I need to be a jack of all trades so I can either always work or kind of always work on what I want to work?
Well, I write, I direct, I act, I produce. I'm not really going to go backwards. I don't have the desire to be a cameraman, so no, I'm good.
And which is kind of the hardest part to do? Is it acting? Is it directing? Writing? Which one?
Producing, because you got to raise money and you got to know how to raise money and you got to know how to make sure the film gets completed and gets distributed so you don't get in trouble. That's the hardest part. And then once you learn how to manufacture a movie, it's like secondhand. It's a piece of cake. Acting can be really tough because you got to memorize your lines and you got to get into characters. And some directors don't give you directions. And when you watch the film, you're like, damn it, I wish you would have given me directions. I say producing top first and then acting second. Writing is easy if you know how to write. And directing as an actor comes easy because you can help the actors do what you want to do.
Yeah, I'll hear like a lot of actors talk about like, oh, he's a actor's director. What does that sort of thing mean? Like, how can a director work better with an actor?
Well, if a director is just a director, they grew up, they studied whatever. They know directing a certain way. They know how to set the camera. They know to do lights. They know how to make a movie. They know how to put together. An actor director or a director that favors actors started as an actor or may still be an actor, like Clint Eastwood and Peter Berg, a lot of great directors that were actors. So what that means is that you can get more emotion out of your actor. You can give direction to your actor because you're an actor. So you can go up to him and say, you know what, I don't feel it. I don't believe it. I don't believe you. You got to give it to me. You got to give me the scene. I need the emotion. And directors that don't have the emotion, that have never done that, have never gone that far, they don't know it. They see what they see in the whole frame. They're making a movie and they've got a vision. They don't pay attention to the performance sometimes. But an actor director knows the performance and he pulls it out of the actor. So you get a lot of Academy Awards with the big boys because they can know how to pull it out. Now, Peter Berg, he does big action movies, but they're great. Everybody acts the crap out of them. I mean, the shows are phenomenal. The Clint Eastwood types, oh my God, they win Academy Awards because he knows how to pull performances. He's not going to hire you if you can't act. And then he makes you work hard on set. Now, like Steven Spielberg's a great director, but he directs from the trailer. He don't go on set. Sometimes he does, but most of the time he's sitting in a trailer with a monitor in front of him, calling cut on the radio. And you need to get right in there with your actors, and you got to tell them what you want. The better pictures you watch are the actors that really work. I mean, the directors that really work with their actors. I'll stop talking right now. Sorry.
Oh, it's fine. No, it's you're the one with the insight. It's just making me think of I think it was Gary Marshall who said that if you're watching a movie and there's a great actor in it, that's probably just the actor, but when the whole cast is great, that's usually the director. Do you think that holds true?
Yeah, of course. Because if you got one great actor that did a great scene, it's because he's a great actor. And then the rest of the movie's not great or the actors aren't strong. But when you got an ensemble cast that's kicking it, that's because someone gave them all great direction and inspired them and made it pull out performances out of them.
And I was just thinking, because as you're talking about, like when you're speaking with actors to get the right performance of the whole Kubrick thing with Shelley Duvall on The Shining, how he basically tormented her to kind of get that right performance out of her. Is that, to me, that seemed like a little extreme way of kind of getting the right performance, but is that kind of a normal thing?
Yeah, it does. I mean, do you remember Deborah Winger?
Yeah.
Deborah Winger was in the movie Urban Cowboy with Travolta.
Mm-hmm.
And she had just gotten off the stage in New York. She was a New York actress. And she was too big. And the camera does everything really little.
Yeah.
And they almost fired her. They took 2 weeks off and then they had to retrain her. So they were constantly bringing her down, constantly cutting her down. Go smaller, go smaller. And then she finally got the performance, and it was a big movie. So yeah, they have to pull performances out of them. I know that when I did Dream Round, the little 10-year-old girl, she would come into my trailer, and then she'd be touching the ball that my daughter wrote her initials on the day before she died in a car crash in the movie.
Yeah.
And I yell at her, and she has to get emotional, really emotional, and drops the ball and starts running. Well, she couldn't do it. We did it over and over and over. And finally, I cut. I told everybody, take 5. I went to her parents. I said, listen, I'm going to yell at her in this next scene. I'm going to scream at her. I'm going to scream at her before the set, before I call action, and I'm going to scream the loudest I can in the set. We're not going to use my set because the cameras are on her. It's her close-up.
Yeah.
So she's a little actress, but she's really talented. So that's what I did. Brought everybody back. So everybody get ready. I told everybody knew what I was going to do. So I started screaming at her. I said, you got to get into this. You got to give me a performance. And I was yelling at her, come on, kid, you can do it. You want to be an actress? You can't act out of a paper bag. Blah, blah, blah. You're not going to get nothing but coal for Christmas. Blah, blah, blah. And she almost started crying. And then we called action. Then I was yelling at her, how dare you touch my daughter's ball? And all of a sudden she's like, oh, my God. And I got it. I pulled it off. And when you see the scene, everybody goes, oh, my God, that little girl can act. But it took me 10 freaking takes to get that, but I pulled it out of her.
Yeah, I guess
that's
so.
what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said you worked with Burt Reynolds. I mean, are there other? I mean, to me, I grew up on like Smokey the Bandit. To me, that would have been a dream. Was that kind of like a high point? Like, who else have you worked with? And is there a list of people that you still want to work with?
Yeah. So let's see. Let me go back. I worked with Kurt Russell. And because Kurt Russell played AA ball and I played ball, we both played professional ball. I never made it all the way up, but we threw the base. Every day we threw the ball, we became really close. I got to work with Burt Reynolds. Jack Warden, he was in 12 Angry Men. He was in Heaven Could Wait with Warren Beatty. He was the redheaded coach. God, I love working with Jack Warden. I worked with Tom Bosley, Mr. C from the Happy Days.
Oh, yeah. I know Tom.
Yeah, and I worked with so Tom, we were filming in a cemetery in Inglewood, California, and his wife had just passed away, and he took me over to the gravesite, and we're sitting there, and he's crying. I'm holding him. The poor guy he lost it.
Yeah.
And I got to work with him. I got to see him on set and in the real life. I got to work Ed Asner, and we hung out. I got him in trouble. I made the front page of the National Enquirer because he told me a lady's going to come see me. It's my agent. Just tell her I'm in my trailer. Lady comes over in a pantsuit, really professional, and I thought I was his agent. So I sent her over to the door. She's banging on the door. Door opens up, and he's got a 22-year-old between her legs. His pants are to the ankle. And his ankle, and he got in trouble. And it was his wife. And we made the fellow actor Michael Saquella, boom, gets rats on co-star Lou Grant from Ed Asner. It was crazy. I got to work with him. Jodie Foster and I worked with Jodie, and it was great. We dated for like 5-6 months. Her mother called me in the Neanderthal because they went to fancy restaurants. I didn't know what all those forks were. I didn't know what bouillabaisse soup was. We both were on diets. Everybody says to me now, "Hey, Michael, what? She went lesbian because of you? You didn't know how to take care of her?" So I got a bunch of pictures of her, and then my cousin is a shrink for the government, and he treated Hinckley. And Hinckley's, he was in love with Jodie Foster and shot the president. Many years later, he took a picture that I had of Jodie and I, and he blew it up to an 8x10, and he put it on his desk to get a reaction out of Hinckley. So Hinckley comes in for treatment, and there's me and Jodie on the desk of the doctor that's treating Hinckley, and Hinckley was good. It didn't bother him. But anyways, I worked with Perry Lang, Bobby DeChico, other guys you don't know, Robert Costanzo, John Capodici, Tom Sizemore. I worked with, let me think who else I've been with. I was with the old great from the, knock the chip off my shoulder. William, what was his name? God, he was great. Everybody loved him. He just recently died. Robert Conrad. I worked with Conrad. I worked with Raquel Welch, Robert Loza, Charles Durning twice, Candace Bergen. Man, it just goes on. And
wow,
on.
Yeah. Sounds like a who's who.
I would like to work with the cast, the Avenger cast. You kidding me? I would like to work with Robert Downey. I would like to work with Thor and Captain America. But I'm a Trekkie.
Yeah.
So of course I want to work with Chris Pine.
Chris Pine
I want to work with those guys.
And
Pinto, whatever his name is.
Carl Urban. Zachary Quintel. Yeah.
I would like to work with all those guys. I mean, it would be fun to be with the big boys. You know, those guys are rocking and rolling right now. But, you know, if you go back in time, I would have loved to work with Sinatra and Dean Martin and Sammy Davis, and all them would have been great. But nowadays, you know, who do we got? I mean, of course, I'd love to work with Daniel Craig. Are you kidding me? But, you know, there's so many out there you want to work with. You know, I of all the women in show business, you know, oh, Michael, if you ever had a chance, who would you date? Who was the favorite actress? And, you know, everybody thinks I'm going to say somebody big time. But you know who I like? I like, oh, no, I can't think of her name. Damn it. Hold on. I gotta get it. Think. She's on the show Moms.
No.
She's the daughter of the oldest mom. She's real famous. She did all those spoof haunted horror movies. Anyways, and she did House Bunny. That movie, House Bunny.
You're naming all stuff I haven't seen.
Wow, she was married to the Lord guy from Star Lords. Well, I can't think of his name right.
Chris. Not. Oh, I know who you're talking about. Let's see. Was it Anna Faris?
Chris Pratt. Chris, who I got. And they go, "What's wrong with you? You could have it." That's who I like.
Yeah.
You know, Rob Schneider just moved to Arizona. He married a Mexican, real pretty Mexican lady. She didn't want to live in LA anymore, so he moved here. He lives in Tempe, out by me. And I put a thing on Facebook. I got a lot of followers, and he thanked me. He actually hit me up and said, "Thank you very much for introducing me to Arizona." Blah blah blah. I welcomed him to the Valley of the Sun, and we had, you know, hundreds of hits. And then he got a hold of me through my press agent and thanked me. And we're going to do lunch. And I'm going to do a Blues Brothers show at Christmas for 2 weeks. He's going to come see me do the John Belushi, the Blues Brothers. It'll be fun.
Does Arizona have like a big theater movie industry there? It's not somewhere I normally typically think of.
We used to. It was huge here. Clint Eastwood made a lot of movies here. Everybody was making movies here. Spielberg made movies here. Then it changed. Spielberg went to Scottsdale High School. He went to school here.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened was we had a female governor who hated show business or whatever, and she squashed everything. And then New Mexico came out with their, you know, tax breaks, and so everybody's shooting in New Mexico. And Arizona only gets the big budget movies that come by once in a while. You know, the $100 million movies are the only one. The 40 million, 50 million, 20 million, they don't come here. They go to New Mexico to get the tax breaks, so they get bigger bang for their buck.
Right.
But there's been some great movies shot here, though.
Breaking Bad was New Mexico, right? Am I remembering that?
Yeah, Albuquerque.
Yeah, okay, all right. And because initially I thought that was Arizona, but I'm like, I don't think that's right. Yeah, we're actually seeing quite a bit of that kind of thing here in Massachusetts. I think DiCaprio's out here shooting a film for Netflix. And I keep hearing rumors that they're shooting a Star Wars series here, which makes no sense to shoot in Boston, but
yeah, well, yeah, the Wahlburgers are out there, you know, Walmart.
Yeah, but they just make hamburgers.
Yeah, go get me a Wahlburger, baby. No.
Yeah, it's I remember when they first opened, not when they first opened, they'd been open a little while. A bunch of friends of mine brought me there, and they're all freaking out. They're like, "Oh my God, it's Paul! It's Paul!" I'm like, "Who's Paul?" And like from the show, I'm like, "What show?" I had no idea that was a reality show, and I'm like, "I thought this was Marky Mark's place," and they're just like, "You're just so out of it."
Yeah.
So, what do you have on the burner for next year? Like, are these shows that you're working on? Do they have a home yet? Are you able to talk about them?
Have a major Native American casino going to fund a new series called The Man Who Stuck in the Haunted House. And it's a man, me, that goes into a haunted house, doesn't want to go. He's a cranky bastard. He's miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And his company's got to go in and do some refurbishment in there. And he doesn't want to go. So he finally goes and he gets stuck in there and he can't get out. It's like a force field won't let him out. He goes in there and he meets caretakers and people. In one room, there's 12 heads on a table. They're dead. They're there to scare the kids. So at night, as he's trying to get out, he goes into the room and he sees the 12 heads, and they're all talking and complaining to each other. One lost the keys. One lady's looking for a body. Another guy's hungry, wants a sandwich. One guy's got to get home before midnight because he turns into a pumpkin. Anyway, he's going to take care of all 12. He's going to carry them around, their heads around. Every episode's a different story about each person. And you got to try to find what happened to them. And at the end of the series, I don't want to tell you what happens, but that looks like it's about ready to go. And then the prequel of my movie,
Coyote.
El Coyote, we're doing El Coyote, the prequel. We got an Emmy Award winner and director, writer for Netflix and Amazon Prime that's writing the pilot and 8 episodes for us right now. So when they get approved, we're going to go on that.
So the premise of that movie is the mob versus the cartel kind of thing. Was that something that you were just kind of like, it's another mob movie, or was this something that you were like really looking forward to doing?
Well, El Coyote?
Yeah.
I freaking loved it. Are you kidding me? When have you ever seen the Italian mob go to the border of Mexico and kill a bunch of Mexicans? Never happened before. So yeah, it was exciting for us.
And so does the prequel follow your character, like how he got to where he was in the movie?
It's before. It's basically when he left New York to get into the witness protection, and he owns an Italian restaurant, and he's working with the cartel, cleaning their money. It's exactly the Walter White character, Breaking Bad, but the Italian, more of an Italian ethnic. But this time it's an Italian restaurant, cleaning money. He's not making drugs. And the Italians are going to come out of New York eventually and help him out.
And so did you prefer to do the horror or because you were saying how you really like departing from the gangster roles. So are the Man Who's Stuck in the Haunted House, is that kind of like what you're really looking forward to working on?
Yeah, because I'm going to be creepy and mysterious. I'm actually the killer. So I gave it away, but I can't wait. That's exciting.
So do you prefer to play the bad guy?
I've done it once before in Blue Lake Butcher, so I'm excited to do it again.
Nice. Excellent. So where can people go to find your most recent movie, the Coyote, and where can they find out more about you?
Okay, so Dream Around and El Coyote are on all digital networks: Amazon Prime, Vudu, Hulu, Redbox Digital, you name it, iTunes, Google Play, Apple TV, all that stuff. It's finding me. It's Michael Saquella on Facebook or IMDb, Internet Movie Database. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm everywhere.
It's part of the business now, huh? Being everywhere.
Yep. Yeah, it is.
Awesome. Well, Michael, I want to say thank you so much for giving us some time of your day. I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure being on your show. You're a great guy. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Michael. So we'll be looking forward to your new stuff, and we'll check out what you have out now. And our listeners should follow you on all the social medias. And thanks again for chatting with us, and we'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks for listening to today's podcast. You can find us on all social medias at Inebri-art or on Instagram at Inebri-art6. You can email us at Inebri-art@yahoo.com. And make sure you listen to the other podcasts on the Inebri-art Podcast Network, including Bar Talk, Old Colony Cast, Retro Redoctopus, America's Hometown Horror Podcast, and our newest one, Theme Park Legends, a podcast about working at theme parks. What else? And we'll catch you again next time.